Good morning, students. In last class, we talked about the reform and revivalist movement of 19th century. Under that, we discussed that Rajaram Mohan Rai as a founder of Brahma Samaj, Dr. Atmarang Pandurang as a founder of Prarthana Samaj, Swami Dayananda Saraswati for Arya Samaj, Annie Besant Theosophical Society, Swami Vivekananda as a founder of Ramakrishna Mission. They rendered their services for the upliftment of the society. Now we'll move on into anti-caste movements of 19th century. When Aryans settled in India, they created the caste system based on the occupation of the people. The Brahmins dominated the society and depressed the poor people and considered them as untouchables. The basic rights are denied for them and suffered a lot, especially in South India. So, in this extent, the reformists made anti-caste movements in India. Under that, first one, the role played by Jyotiba Phule and his wife. We'll talk about that. Jyotiba Govindarao Phule was born in 1827 in Maharashtra. He opened the first school for untouchables in 1852 in Pune. That is, for the poor people, he opened the school. He launched the Satya Shodhak Samaj, that is Truth Seekers Society in 1870 to stir the non-Brahmin masses to self-respect. That is, the poor people must attain self-respect. For that, he started a Satya Shodhak Samaj. Jyotiba and his wife Savitribai Phule devoted their lives for the upliftment of the depressed classes and women. So Jyotiba, along with his wife, they rendered the services for depressed classes. His work Gulamgiri, that is slavery, is an important text that summarized many of his radical ideas regarding untouchables. Okay, Gulamgiri, it is an important work done by Jyotiba Phule. Then second one, Narayana Guru. Narayana Guru, born to poor parents in Kerala, Narayana Guru evolved into a poet and scholar in Malayalam, Tamil and Sanskrit. So he is also a social uplifter for the poor people, as well as he was born in Kerala and he was a poet and he dedicated his life for the society. He dedicated his life for the betterment of the oppressed. That is, oppressed meant those who are depressed in the society. He set up the Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Yogam. Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Yogam. Paripalana means for the protection of the poor people. He started an association, an organization to work for the upliftment of the depressed classes. He established a grand temple at Aruvipuram and dedicated it to all. Aruvipuram, it is in Kerala and it is open to every people because the depressed people are not allowed to enter into temples for a long time. In that extent, he constructed a temple and it was dedicated to everyone. That is the role played by our Narayana Guru. Then third person is Ayyan Kali. Ayyan Kali was born in 1863 at Venkanur in Trivandrum. A leader of an anti-caste movement and who later fought for basic rights including access to public spaces and entry to schools, because for a long time in India the untouchables are not allowed to enter into temples, schools, and they are prohibited to use the public spaces. So in that extent, Ayyan Kali started a movement and he founded the Sadhu Jana Paripalana Sangam. Sadhu Jana Paripalana Sangam, that is Association for the Protection of the Poor People in 1907. So this Narayana Guru and Ayankali, they were the people of Kerala, and they made their role for the upliftment of the depressed classes in the society. In British India, not only Hindu people participated in the reformist movement, but Islamic people, Parsi people, Sikhs also contributed for the upliftment of the society by providing education and moral support to them. We'll see one by one. First one, the Islamic reforms. That is, in the British India, the Muslim community feared that Western education, Western culture, and Western ideas would endanger their religion. That is, Islamic people, they thought after the coming up of British, the Islamic religion will fade from India. Therefore, only a small section of Muslims accepted the new avenues for modern education. Under that, first Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. He was born in Delhi into a noble Muslim family. He was born in Delhi region, and he exhorted the Muslims to accept Western science and take up government services. So, the Syed Ahmad Khan, he encouraged the Islamic people to follow this Western education. He founded a scientific society and translated many English books, especially science books, into Urdu, because Urdu is the language for the Islamic people, so it will be easy for them to read. So he translated many books into Urdu language. He advised the Muslims to take to English education and to concentrate on it. So he encouraged the Muslims to come to school and study under this English education. Syed Ahmad Khan's movement, the Aligarh movement, he started a movement called Aligarh. Is so called because it was centered around the Aligarh Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College founded by him in 1875. He founded a college, Aligarh Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College, in 1875. And based on that, he started an Aligarh movement. Then later, the college was raised to the status of university in 1920. Under that, Syed Ahmad Khan, he encouraged the Islamic people, especially women also, to educate themselves. The next one is DuPont movement. DuPont was a revivalist movement organized by the Orthodox Muslim ulema. Whether you heard this word ulema? Ulema means the religious leaders of Muslim. They were considered as scholars of religion. Muhammad Qasim Banatawi. Muhammad Qasim Banatawi and Rashid Ahmad Gangatri. Rashid Ahmad Gangatri, and they founded a school at DuPont in the Saharanpur district of Uttar Pradesh in 1866. The two people, they started a school at DuPont. The instruction imparted was in original Islamic religion, and the aim was moral and religious regeneration of the Muslim community, because these people were ulema, they are religious scholars. So they started a school. In that school, they instructed only about all Islamic religion, and they regenerate the Islamic community. Maulana Muhammad ul Hasan. Maulana Muhammad ul Hasan became the new DuPont leader. Okay, so after this Muhammad Qasim and Rashid Ahmad, now we have Maulana Muhammad ul Hasan. The Jamaat ul Ulema, that is the Council of Theologists, okay, led by him, gave a concrete shape to Hassan's idea of protection of religious and political rights of the Muslims in the overall context of Indian unity. because under this DuPont movement they encouraged the Islamic people to study only about Islamic religion as well as to practice all the Islamic thing properly. Okay, and they made this political rights for the Muslims all over our India. That is the DuPont movement. First we talk about Aligarh movement by Syed Ahmad Khan. He encouraged Islamic people to study English language, whereas this DuPont movement they encourage people to study about their religion alone. The next one is Parsi Reform Movement. That is, Zoroastrians of Iran region were called as Parsi people. We have this Zoroastrianism is also a world famous religion. They also came to India to spread their religion, and they settled in North India, and these people also started reform movements in India. Under that we have Fardunich Nauroji. Fardunich Nauroji founded the Rahmani Masdayasan Sabha. Rahmani Masdayasan Sabha, that is Parsis Reform Society in 1851. Rast Gaftar, that is Rast Gaftar. These words are in the Parsi language. These are in Parsi language. In English it means the truth teller was the main voice of this movement. That is the Parsi reform movement is otherwise called as Rast Gaftar. Then Begrami Malabari. Begrami Malabari organized a campaign for legislation against the practice of child marriage. Actually, these people are also opposed to child marriage in India. So, for that, Begrami Malabari he organized a campaign. Not only this alone, this community produced many leaders such as Feroz Shah Mehta and Deen Shah Wacha. Feroz Shah Mehta and Deen Shah Wacha, who played a big role in the early Congress during our British India. That is about our Parsi reform movement. The next one is Sikh reform movement. Sikh people, whether heard about Sikhism? Under that we have Baba Dayal Das. Baba Dayal Das was the founder of Nirankari movement. Nirankari movement stressed the worship of God as Nirankar. Nirankar means without any shape, formless, that is anti-idolatry, like that. He also rejection of idols, rejection of rituals associated with idolatry. So simply the Sikh people under Baba Dayal Das, they started the Nirankari movement, and this movement is also against this idolatry. Baba Dayal Das, he reiterated the prohibition on meat eating and liquor consumption in the society. That is, he restricted the people for the prohibition of meat eating and liquor consumption. The next one, the Namdari movement. Namdari movement founded by Baba Ram Singh. Okay, first one Nirankari movement, Baba Dayal Das. Second one Namdari movement, Baba Ram Singh, was another socio-religious movement among the Sikhs. Under this Namdari movement, Namdaris insisted on wearing the symbols of Sikhism. So they insisted the people to wear, and it also prohibited the dowry system and child marriage. Dowry system, that is giving money and lot of jewels during the time of marriage. That is the meaning of dowry system and child marriage. So that is about our Namdari movement. The Singh Sabha of Amritsar was established. Another one, Singh Sabha. Its main objective was to restore the purity of Sikhism. With the support of British, it established Khalsa College for the Sikhs in Amritsar. Khalsa College for the Sikhs in Amritsar in Punjab. Singh Sabha was a forerunner of Akali movement. So forerunner, that is based on this Singh Sabha. Following that, we have this Akali movement was started by our Sikh people, that is the Sikh reform movement. Here we talk about Nirankari movement and Namdari movement and Singh Sabha, all about our Sikh people. The next one is about social reformers of our Tamil Nadu. Under this Tamil Nadu, here we have Vallalar. Whether you heard about Vallalar, that is Ramalinga Swamigal or Ramalinga Adigal. He was born in Marudur, a village near Chidambaram. It is near our Kadalur. Ramalinga emphasized the bonds of responsibility and compassion between living beings. So, compassion, that means karunai. He expressed the view that those who lack compassion for suffering beings are hot-hearted, their wisdom clouded. That is, we must show our love towards all human beings in the world, including people, animals, and plants. He showed his compassion and mercy on all living beings, including plants. This is called Jiva Karunya. Okay, Jiva Karunya, that is compassion towards man, animals, and plants, is called Jiva Karunya. He established Samarasa Veda Sanmarka Sangam in 1865. Samarasa Veda Sanmarka Sangam. So Samarasam, that means all are equal. Samarasa Suddha Sanmarka Satya Sangha, that is after some years that Sanmarka Sangha was renamed as Samarasa Suddha Sanmarka Satya Sangha, which means Society for Pure Truth in Universal Selfhood. Society for Pure Truth in Universal Selfhood. Ramalinga also established a free feeding house for everyone irrespective of caste at Vadalur. That is, he established a free feeding house, that is, they will provide food for everyone in all 24 hours. So it is still there in Vadalur. It was started during the time of 1867. Because you know it, in 1866 in India we faced a terrible famine in South India. Famine means Panjam. During that time he started this feeding house, and from that time to till date, that is up to 2020, it is there for the every people without irrespective of caste. Everyone can enter into the free feeding house. His voluminous songs were compiled and published under the title Thiruvarutpa. Thiruvarutpa, that is called as Songs of Grace. This you can see in your Tamil. That is Ramalinga Adigala's songs are called as Thiruvarutpa. That is Ramalinga, he bore a witness to hunger and poverty in the country. I saw poor people emaciated with hunger and terribly weary going to every house. That is, in Tamil we say, Vaadiya Pairai Kanda Podellam Vaadugireen. In that way, he attracted the people of our Tamil Nadu, and not only Tamil Nadu, all over our India. That is the role played by Ramalinga Swamigal. The last one is Ayodhi Dasar. Pandita Ayodhi Dasar was a radical Tamil scholar, writer, Siddha medicine practitioner, journalist, and socio-political activist. That is simply a multi-talented or multi-personality. That is our Ayodhi Dasa. He was born in Chennai. He was fluent in Tamil, English, Sanskrit, and Pali languages. Pali is a language of Buddhism. He campaigned for social justice and worked for the emancipation of the untouchable from the caste clutches, because the poor people that is the low caste people were deprived from basic rights. So for that he dedicated his life for the social justice for untouchables. He considered education as an important tool for the empowerment and became the driving force behind the establishment of several schools for the untouchables in Tamil Nadu. So he considered education as a tool to empower this untouchable. For that he started several schools in and around our Tamil Nadu. Pandita Ayodhidasa founded the Advaita Sabha to raise the voice for the temple entry of the untouchables, because temple entry was prohibited for the low caste people. So for that he started a Sabha. In 1882, John Ratnam and Ayodhidasar established a movement called Dravida Kazhagam. That is, you know it, the North Indian people were considered as Aryans, the South Indian people were considered as Dravidians. So for that he started a Dravida Kazhagam and launched a magazine called Dravida Pandian in 1885. He founded the Dravida Mahajana Sabha in 1891. These Sabhas, that is, they are considered the Sabha for the upliftment of untouchables in Tamil Nadu. Even though he worked for the betterment of the untouchable, in one point he was very vexed with the Hindu society. So, influenced by the theosophical organizer Colonel H.S. Wolcott, he went to Sri Lanka in 1898 and converted to Buddhism. So in the beginning he was a Hindu, and with the influence of Colonel Wolcott, he went to Sri Lanka and converted himself into Buddhism. And there in Sri Lanka, he followed Buddhism, and later he came to our Chennai and he founded the Sakya Buddhist Society at Madras to construct the rational religious philosophy through Buddhist religion. So instead of walking under Hinduism, now he converted himself into Buddhist, as well as he worked for the upliftment of the people. And he started a weekly journal called Oru Paisa Tamilan in 1907. Oru Paisa Tamilan, a book, and published it until his demise in 1914. Up to his death, he published this Oru Paisa Tamilan. That is, maybe that book may be only 1 paise. The value for that is 1 paise. That is called Oru Paisa Tamilan. That is the role played by Ayodhidasa. That is, in the beginning he was a Hindu and later he converted himself into Buddhism. That is Ayodhidasa. So in this lesson we talk about many personalities and their movement as reformist and revivalist for the society. They render their immense services for the upliftment of orthodox practices on religion and society, especially for the welfare of women and untouchables in the country. That is the role played by the reformist movement of 19th century. Thank you, Ma.